Alright, in this video we're going to learn how to take these two photos and turn it into this. So let's get right into it. So you're going to go to your texture and you're going to just crank that up as high as you can. And you can also adjust the clarity, and what that does is it just makes your picture just a little bit sharper. I also decided to see if dehaze did anything, so you can see I just messed around with it and I didn't like it one way or the other, so I just put it back to 0. Also wanted to mess around with a little bit of vibrance just to make the colors a little bit more red. What you guys will quickly learn about me is I like to mess around with things just to see how it looks, and that's a lot of times what you guys need to do to see what works for your graphic. The next thing I did was levels adjustments. So with levels adjustments, you can just go to your new adjustment layer and hit levels, and then go to, I used luminosity this time, and then I turned it down. So what that does is if you turn it to the left, it brightens it, and if you go to the middle, it turns those mid-tones to a darker shade. So in this, I wanted to make sure it was a little bit darker because that was the theme I wanted to go with. So you can just go around your shadows and you're going to make those shadows a little bit darker with the luminosity. And if this effect is a little bit too strong for you, you can always turn down the opacity. Next thing I did was make another levels adjustment, and I changed it to screen, and I went over the bright parts of my graphic. So I went over the ball, I went over the parts where the jersey was a little bit lighter than the dark parts of the jersey. The next thing I did was a high pass filter. So I duplicated my layer and I put a layer on top and I changed it to high pass filter, and I changed the blending mode to soft light. Next we have selective color. So if you want to change the tone of the skin for your player, you want to be dealing with the reds and the yellows within selective color. So in this case, you can see me adjusting the reds in order to make his skin tone a little bit more red. This next part here is just me doing the same exact edits for the second Kevin Durant. So if Kevin Durant's taking photos at media day and you get those photos, you want to make sure you're doing the same exact edits if you're doing one graphic for that Kevin Durant, so it looks like they are both in the same area. So you want to make sure your texture and clarity, make sure your highlights and shadows are all the same on each of them, as well as you should make sure if you do any levels adjustments or color lookups that you do the same exact color lookups and levels adjustments for the second KD. This next part is arguably the most important part of any design. It's the background. So with this particular graphic, my background, I put Durant in the background and I just faded it up. So I started out with Durant, and then I made sure it looked like it was fading out the top, and then I started out with a picture of the city in the background, but I didn't end up leaving that. I put a little bit of different design in the background, but you can get this effect of Durant fading out by lowering the opacity of your text. So the first text on the bottom is 100% opacity, and then I just lowered the opacity as it went up. The next thing I did was add a outer glow. So I went to my text and then I hit outer glow, and then you can see the adjustments that I made to get the look that I wanted. I then added triangles as well as different shapes all around the graphic. I wanted like an abstract look, so I decided to replace the city with a different texture. And then next you can see the overlays that I added. So I added two different overlays. One that went over the entire graphic, and then the second one was just for the background. You can see that this overlay I put in makes that starry look that you see in the background. The next thing I did was color corrections. So with these color corrections, the first thing I did was add a color lookup, and I put it on 3 strip, and then I just lowered the opacity. The second color lookup that I did was probably the most important. I put it on foggy night, and that gave me that night look. Like I said before, a lot of color corrections are just experimented on how things look, so you can see me messing around with different gradient maps to see if they will fit with this graphic. Also, the brightness on the jerseys weren't the same in all of the jerseys, so I decided to adjust the brightness. You can see how I added the whites back into the front Kevin Durant. I want to thank you guys for watching the video this far. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you guys aren't already subscribed, please subscribe. We do a video every single week. I'm thinking about making the video the same day every week, so leave me a comment if you guys would watch more videos if they're on the same day every single week. If you guys aren't already following my Instagram, so what I do is I post my Instagram picture on Sunday night, and I'm thinking about automatically posting the video on how I did it on Monday. So let me know if that works for you guys. And as always, stay safe and have a good one.